そういうのない？あるよね。私ほぼそれなんだけど。でもさすがに予約しないとだよね。いきなり高校生9人で行くとか普通に迷惑かもじゃん。よっ、そのカメラ持ってってご飯モードで撮ろう。キセム。
What's going on, guys? The struggle of every single week to come here and talk about was this the best episode of My Dress Up Darling is so real. It's such a real feeling. Like, we just got done watching episode number 19 or episode 7 of season 2, and like, what moment do I hone in on as this was a 10 out of 10 episode for me? Like, I was dying of laughter. I thought that it had the cutest moments. And even when I'm thinking of like, oh, I'm gonna go edit the video, like what clip do I put at the beginning of the video? Do I put the clip where they're running through and Gojo's taking a bunch of different photos of Marin and falling deeper and deeper and deeper in love? Do I put the moment where she realizes that she's a little bit chubby and she runs home and she goes in like panic to try on all her clothes and realize it doesn't fit? Do we talk about the moment where she's in the karaoke bar with her friends and her friend is like, oh yeah, last summer I did think you got a little punchier, and like, yo, why didn't you say anything? Do we talk about the moment where she's talking to Gojo about how she's getting fatter, how she's gained weight, and he's like, there's just no way. You come over and we eat fish every night, like we're eating very, very healthy. He's like, there's no way that you can be gaining weight. He's like, unless, are you snacking afterwards? Like, are you eating like, you know, cakes? Are you like, what are you doing? And she's like, something worse. And he's just like, what could be worse? And then he has the realization. He's like, holy crap. He's like, are you eating the food that I send you every day for breakfast when you get home? And she's like, ah. And then he does the mental gymnastics, the mental math, the mental calculation of calories. He's like, holy crap. If you come at night to eat all the food, and then you eat all the food I send you in the morning, he's like, well, what do you eat for breakfast? She's like, oh, I eat my leftover bento. And then she eats her actual bento, and then she eats the little snacks that he gives her. And he's like, holy crap. He's like, is that 50,000 calories? Of course, I don't think it's 50,000. 50,000 is a crazy number, but she's probably eating like 5 or 10,000 calories a day, which is insane. So yeah, it's surprising that she's not rolling around everywhere. So like, again, if you guys noticed, I just slickly went through all the cool moments this episode, but there was just so much more. You know, she wants to go, she finally gets her digital camera, and she goes back at the end of the episode, and she goes to go take pictures of Gojo's grandpa, which is like the sweetest thing ever. He's like, do you want to take pictures of this old man on your brand new fancy camera? She's like, actually, I came here just to take pictures of you. And I was like, oh, that is just like, oh my God, my heart can't handle you right now, Marin. Like, Jesus. So again, there's just so many just incredible moments this episode. And, you know, I always think back. I know I talked about it last week. I'm just going to mention it just quickly here. Once again this week, you know, as one was doom scrolling TikTok, you know, how you just rot, you know, on TikTok for like an hour or whatever. You're like, holy shit, I got to get off of TikTok. I saw another video where some girl was talking about how she couldn't get past episode 5 of My Dress Up Darling. And immediately I was like, here we go. I bet it's fan service. And sure enough, you know, it was the fan service. I'm like, man, these people, you know, I don't think any of us, and I'm sure including you, like, you don't want those folks who just gab about like fan service. Like, dude, just if it has a little bit, just don't talk about it. Just don't watch it. You know what I mean? But those aren't the folks we want in our, like, you know, in our community. Cause, you know, although there is fan service in My Dress Up Darling, like that just happens to be an element of My Dress Up Darling. And the other thing that is always so weird about it too is like My Dress Up Darling is, and I'm 99% sure, because I feel like I did a video about this a long time ago, but My Dress Up Darling is written by a woman. So it's like, you know, on top of everything else, you know, people get so overly emotional about a lot of things, but it's like, well, this show, you know, is also written by, you know, a lovely lady and author. Let me just make sure I can say their name here. Shinichi Fukuda, you know. So it's like, that's the other part of it as well too, you know. So it's always so weird. But anyways, again, I just want to touch on that. That it's like I always just see those narratives, and it's always so weird because like you're missing out on something that's so special. Like this episode, I was dying of laughter. It had the sweetest moments. It started off, Marin is going there and just glazing our boy Gojo on how she's so happy how he won her, a prize out of the claw machine. And, they have their picture together and, how she takes care of him, how he takes care of her. And like, she is just foaming at the mouth to praise our boy and talk about him. Like she is like deep, deep, deep in love. And that's why I can't wait till actually they start like legitimately dating. Cause they're right there. Like they have like started, like if you notice, like they've kind of started their life together. They have this routine, right? He is as huge a part of her life as she is a big, big part of his life, right? Like they walk together from school. Their routine is they go over to, his home. She eats dinner with him. She has ingrained her life with his grandpa. He doesn't need to be around for her to have like good conversation with his grandpa. His grandpa kind of thinks of her kind of like his own. Like their lives are just so ingrained, right? He casually goes over to her place. He cleans up. He does whatever. He takes care of her. Like they're basically like right there. The only thing that's missing is just the actual like legitimate romance, holding hands, kissing, whatever else could, come after that without mentioning it. Like, and that is one small part of a whole pie, right? If you think about it like a pizza, right? It's split into 8 slices. Like that takes up maybe 2 out of the 8 slices, but love and relationships is the bigger thing. So I don't want to get lost in, I don't even know what tangent I went off on there, but episode 19 it's just incredible. And I was laughing my ass off at her realization through, getting chubbier and how her model agency, was like, you're getting, you put on a little face, weight in the face, like, hey, summer's coming up and you got to get it together. She's like, like it's hilarious, right? And her mental gymnastics trying to figure out like, well, how did this happen? There's no way I couldn't have gained weight, blah, blah, blah. And her trying on like all her skimpy outfits and stuff. And they're holding on for dear life. And it keeps showing us her little pudges here and there, which again, to be clear for everybody out there, it's like all of that is totally fine, right? I don't think anybody in life expects everybody to have, no weight on them or anything like that. Like, I think there is a certain limit to everything. But in the context of the show, she is a professional model. So being in certain shape is kind of an expectation for her. Unlike the rest of us where she's totally like, she's a bombshell, right? Like she's a 12 out of 10. There's no denying that. Her in her current state is totally more than acceptable for every normal person, but it's part of her job. So I just want to be very clear with that too, because some folks, just depending, maybe even like my lady friends who might be watching this video, which I hope you guys are, hit like, you might look and be like, oh my God, like maybe I need to go and do some sit-ups or whatever. It's like, no, like you're it's like, unless it's like literally part of like your job or just an extreme goal that you have, like she's but it's part of her job. Last thing I'll say about the episode is one anecdote is she bought a new camera, right? She finally achieved one of her big goals in, to actually go and get a camera and stuff. But I did have a question, and I don't know if you guys can provide color or, your thoughts on it, is she bought a camera. She bought a Canon camera, which I'm a Sony guy. My camera that I'm using, my camera, this white one right there is a Sony, but I do have a Canon over there, and then in my drawers behind me that you see here is a little projector. I have 2 more cameras over there. I have another Sony, and I have another Canon as well too, an older one, like I don't even know what it is, T something. But she bought a Canon. I don't know where I said that, but anyways, she bought a Canon camera. Again, I'm a Sony guy. I do need a new lens though. It'd be nice if you guys want to give me a Christmas gift. Give your boy a Christmas gift. But she probably bought her Canon camera, but it costs 80,000 yen. 80,000 yen, I asked Siri, and it's about like 550 bucks. So I was like, man, why did it take her so long to save up 550? Like, she's a professional model. You have to assume that she's making, I mean, I don't want to put words in any of her mouths, especially my own, but you have to assume that she's making probably a few grand, a couple grand per shoot. So I'm like, how did it take her so long to save up money? Of course, she has a lot of expenditures. She spends money on her own. She has her whole cosplay stuff. So it's not completely unrealistic. But at the same time, I was like, man, I thought that she was going to go buy like a $2,000-$3,000 camera. But she ended up buying like a $550 camera. So that was an interesting anecdote as well, too. All right, I'm about to hit 10 minutes, guys. I've been here with you guys for too long. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read your guys' thoughts and feelings and everything else in this episode. I'll see you guys next weekend. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys next week for episode number 20, which is called The Only Way I Could Think of to Express Gratitude is with Money. I don't know what that really means, but I'm very excited about it. All right, friends. Peace out.